Hey guys, what's up? Today I'll be doing a massive ranking of every single character in Chrono Cross. During my many years of playing this game, my many playthroughs of it, I have played with every single one of them, so I feel like I can do a proper ranking of every single one of them. Of course, in a tier list from all the way from S to E. Now, I'll be showing gameplay footage of every single character, of their attacks and all that jazz. With this video that I found on the internet by this YouTuber called Kuj. The gameplay he recorded is at 60 frames per second at 4K. It looks totally remastered. And if this game ever gets remastered, this is how it should look like, in my opinion, or even better, dare I say. So anyway, all credit goes to this YouTuber. I'll leave the link to this video in the description below. So as you can see, the list is in alphabetical order, and we're gonna start with the dude, the doc. He's the doctor. And well, as a character, he is not that good. He's kind of lame. He does have some interesting attacks. He is a slightly decent mage, but overall, he's a mediocre character. It's one of those characters that I have no idea why he joined. The doc is a great healer. No, it's irrelevant, so yeah. Not the worst character, he's just mediocre, so I'm just gonna put this guy on the D. Yep. Next is Draghi. This is the little dragon you find at the very bottom of Fort Dragonia, and he's actually pretty decent. He's a good mage, and he's a good physical attacker. Overall, I don't think this is one of the best characters in the game, but he does some pretty decent damage. He can take a few hits, so it's a pretty balanced character, and he does stand out a little bit with his attacks, and especially with magic attacks. Not one of the best characters, he's great and that's it, so I think Draghi needs to be on the B. Yep. Moving on to Captain Fargo, this is one of the, well, not one of the best characters, but he's up there, he's pretty decent. He is everything that I said about Draghi. He has great attacks, he's a decent mage, and he's also a decent physical attacker. Not among the absolute best, but he's up there, he can be trained properly, and if equipped properly, he can do some real serious damage and also can take some real serious damage. Like I said, not one of the best characters, but almost one of the best. Fargo is an A. Moving on to Fun Guy, the guy with the mushroom head. Oh my god. This is one of the worst characters in the game. He's pretty useless. Not a decent mage, not a decent physical attacker, he's just there for fun. His quest is so annoying to do, you gotta go back and forth between dimensions and to the Shadow Forest, and oh my god, such a long ass quest for such a lame ass character. Fun Guy, do not recruit this guy, and if you do, just let it be out of curiosity, just for the sake of having all characters in Chrono Cross. So yeah, straight to the E. And contrary to Glenn, which is one of the best characters in the game, everybody knows it, everybody agrees, he is a badass when it comes to physical attacks, he's a badass mage, not one of the best mages in the game, but he's a very decent mage, and he also can take a few hits. He's just a great character, especially for having that X-Strike badass attack that does massive damage with Surge. One of the very few combination attacks in the game. And obviously because he has two swords, and obviously because he can equip the Iron Lancer near the end of the game. Glenn is one of the best characters in the game, straight to the S. Greco is actually a pretty decent character. I've used this guy on a few playthroughs that I've done. He's a bit of a tank. When it comes to physical attacks, he can take a few damage, a few hits, and survive. And he's not that great at magic attacks, he's not that great even at magical resistance, but he can take a few hits as well. Overall, he's pretty much a tank. He can do some great damage with his attacks and with physical attacks, and some decent damage as a mage. I'm tempted to give it an A, so yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna give it an A to Greco. Yeah. Gropic, you know, it's a cyborg pronounced backwards, Gropic. This guy is one of the best characters in the game. Great mage, great physical attacker, great defense, great magical resistance. This is one of my favorite characters in the game. He can take a lot of damage and he can do a lot of damage too. His attacks, his special attacks are badass. I love the animation. I love the hair cutter attack, one of my favorites in the game. Gropic is a straight S, one of the best characters. If you ever play this game for the first time, be sure to put this guy in your party for the final boss if you want to. Guile is known for being one of the best mages in the game. Unfortunately, in everything else, he's kind of average. His defense is okay, his magical resistance is kind of high, but not that high, and his physical attacks kind of suck and he misses a lot. However, he's one of the best mages in the game. If you're looking to have a great mage and train a great mage, you know, to equip him with all those badass spells, even his own spells are very good in my opinion, he's the one to go. So Guile, just for being one of the best mages in the game, I'm gonna put him in the A. Harley is my favorite character in Chrono Cross, and she's also one of my favorite characters in all video games in general. I love her so much, not only because of her personality and her story and her plot twist near the end, but because she's also a great unit. She is one of the best mages in the game by far. She surpasses Guile in my opinion. She's great, her attacks are badass. She's a black elemental character, which means if the enemies attack with white elements, she can take a lot of damage. That's the only downfall of Harley, but in everything else, she is almost a perfect character. Harley is a straight S, one of the best characters in the game as well. Irene's the Siren. Well, she's also a great mage, by the way. Unfortunately, she's kind of weak, you know, 3 or 4 hits in your first playthrough and she's bound to die. She can take some magic damage, actually her magical resistance is high. Her attacks are okay, I never felt they were kind of outstanding, not even visually. They don't do a lot of damage, you need to equip her with a lot of top tier elements so she can do some massive damage to the enemies. But overall, she's a great mage, among the best mages of the game, but I think Guile is better. I'm gonna give it a B. Yeah. Janice is one of the secret characters of the game. You never actually see her, and you might not even know her at all, even if you played Chrono Cross a couple of times. She participates in the tournament that takes place in the ship. That's right, in the Zelbis. And you gotta win the tournament to get her as a party member. And guess what? She is badass. She's not among the best characters in the game, but she's pretty balanced. She packs quite a punch. Her attacks are fun, she's hot, she's kind of sexualized, but what's important is that she's a pretty balanced character, like I said. Great attacker, great mage, great magical resistance, great defense, so overall not one of the best characters in the game, but near one of the best. Janice is an A, absolutely an A. Alright, Karj, one of the 3 Acacia Dragoons, one of the 4 Devas. Karj is also one of the best characters in the game. He's a great mage, he's a great physical attacker, he can take some damage, magical resistance, everything I've said so far from most characters here on the S, A, and B tier. Like, he's one of the best characters, he can take way more than that and do way more damage than most of these characters. Karj is one of the best characters in the game, and I have to say that his attacks are badass too. I love some of the animations. And what matters the most is that the very first time I played this game, I beat the game with Gropic, Surge, and Karj. That's right, you got that right. Karj is an S. Kit herself, she's good. She starts off kind of average. Near the end of the game, once you get her back, if you equip her properly and get her last attack, she is great, she can do some great damage, she's a good mage, she's a good physical attacker, but overall she doesn't stand out that much because she attacks with a dagger, and I think the developers were trying to balance her a little bit more so she can be on par with Surge, but Surge, you know, fortunately it's a much better character, so Kid is decent. You'll mostly play for her in your party even at the end because she's the main character and she's so lovely, but overall Kid is not that great, so she's still a decent character, and if trained properly she can do some real damage. I'm gonna give it an A. Yep. Orcha is, well, he's okay. He's not a mediocre character, nor is he one of the best, nowhere near one of the best. He's an okay physical attacker, an okay mage, an okay everything, so and his attacks are kind of, okay. He's an average character. He's better than Doc, so yeah, Orcha is gonna be the first guy on the C tier, right here. Moving on to Leah. Leah is the little prehistoric character. There's rumors that she's kind of a descendant of Isla from Chrono Trigger. And you get her in the Green Dragon Island, and she's actually pretty damn decent. She's not one of the best mages, she's okay as a mage. Her strength is on the physical attacks, and she can pack quite a punch. Her attacks are fun, but I don't know, it's just, I'm not sure. She could be in the A tier for a lot of people, but to me, she was just a great character, and that's about it. I only used her once for a couple of battles, and I was like, nah. She's a good character, so I'm gonna give it a B. Lina is also one of the best mages in the game. She starts off kind of weak, 3 or 4 hits and she goes down, unfortunately, especially if attacked with a fire element, because she's blue element. But overall, if trained properly, if equipped properly, she can be one of the best mages in the game. I suggest you focus on her defense and equip accessories that can increase her defense and her magical resistance. Like I said, if equipped and trained properly, she can be one of the best mages in the game. Lina to me is an A tier. Moving on to Lucia, she fights with a gun. She's the scientist that you find in Viper Manor. She's kind of okay as well, she's not that great. Her stats are kind of average. I prefer Lucia over Doc, but I don't know, let's say between Orcha and Lucia, they're okay. Her attacks are interesting, but not that interesting. She's a decent mage, but not that much. She's okay, so I'm gonna give her a C. Moving on to Lynx. Lynx is pretty much Surge, but just with the black elements instead of the white elements. Lynx is one of the best characters in the game, / Surge, so obviously he needs to be on the S tier because he's kind of broken. This is one of those games. Chrono Cross is one of those games where the main character is one of the best characters in the game. Badass mage, badass attacks, badass skills, badass attacker. He's just freaking. He's probably the best character in the game himself. So yeah, Lynx is an S. Matcha is Orcha's mom that she joins you if you reject saving Key. You decide not to save her at that particular point in the game. So Matcha, she's kind of fun to play as because she's the mom, and she's fun. She has this personality and she's badass. But as a unit, as an attacker, she's kind of okay. Slightly decent mage, slightly decent attacker, defense. She's just okay. Her attacks are kind of funny, but that's about it. She's just, I don't know, I only played with her a couple of battles just to satisfy my curiosity. That's about it. She's a C. She's okay. Marcy stands out for being, cute, for being the lowly, for being such a brat, but she grows on you. But the thing about Marcy is that, she can't take a lot of damage. She's kind of weak, no matter what element the enemy attacks her with, and if they gang up on her with physical attack, she's done for. So she's not that great, but her attacks are cool. She's a decent mage. Some people will say she's among the best mages in the game. I don't think so. Overall, she's a pretty balanced character, now that I think about it. She's pretty balanced. But anyway, so Marcy is a B. I'm gonna give her a B. Mel, Orcha's little sister. You know what? She's not that bad, she is a decent mage, and she's one of the very few, if not the only decent mage that's yellow colored with the earth element. So, but that's about it, she doesn't do a lot of damage. 3 or 4 hits, she dies. I don't know, she's okay, she's on the same level as Orcha, so a C, I guess. Yeah, she's alright. Mickey, in my opinion, is one of the best mages in the game. On your first playthrough, if you're not playing on New Game Plus, overpowered. She's kind of average. She should be on the C tier, but I found that in New Game Plus, she does massive damage, especially if she uses red element attacks. And so her attacks are kind of okay. She's a dancer, so she's supposed to be a little fan service. She's supposed to be sexy. And I like this character because she always struck me as some kind of sad character, like she's so melancholic. She's in love with Nikki, so I like her character, I like her personality, and I like her as a unit, and she has some decent defense. So overall Mickey is a B. I'm gonna give her a B because she's a solid unit in the game. Mojo is actually one of the best units in the game as well. Nah, just kidding. Well, okay, he's not one of the best characters, but let me say it like this, he can be quite powerful if trained properly. A decent mage, a good mage actually, a good attacker, can take some hits, can take some magic damage, his attacks are kind of fun. Not that fun, because he's such a weird and unique character, so you will expect more unique and weird and obnoxious attacks. But okay, Mojo is a good character if you recruit this guy, put him in your party. He's way better than some characters like Orcha or Mel or even the Doctor. So Mojo, I'm gonna give him B. Yeah, he totally deserves that. Alright, Neofio, this little flower thing. He's... I don't know, I've seen some people saying that he's actually a good character, a decent character. I found this guy to be, meh, kind of mediocre. His attacks are like, meh. He's just there to be the cute little character, right? That's the only purpose of the existence of this character. And I'm not sure I like this guy. He's just, meh, he's just average. I don't know, I'm gonna give him D. Yeah. Moving on to Nikki, the rockstar, the Japanese, very Japanese rockstar. Got his name thanks to bass player Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue. So Nikki's a good character. He's good, you know, he's one of those characters like Kid. He's balanced. He can pack quite a punch. He can do some good damage, magical damage. His attacks are badass because, you know, you gotta like rock and metal, and he fights with his guitar, and he's just for the looks. For the looks of it, he's a good character, but he's not one of the best. But he's okay though. So I'm not sure if I should give Nikki a B, because I think it's a little bit better than most of the ones on the B tier. Yeah, why not? I'm gonna give him an A, because if trained properly and equipped properly, he's better than most of the characters on the B tier. Norris also fights with a gun. He's a yellow elemental character. He's okay. He's better than Lucia, and he's a very decent mage, very decent attacker. The defense of this guy is, I found this guy surviving more battles than other characters. So yeah. His attacks are nothing special, they're okay, you know, he's a military guy, I don't know, there's not a lot of creativity when it comes to his attacks, and his personality is kind of, okay, meh. But, you know, as a unit, he is above average, so I'm gonna give it a B. Orcha, he is quite fun to play as. He is also a tank. I think Greco is more of a tank than Orcha, and he can also do some really good damage with physical attacks and also elemental attacks. He doesn't look like it, but he is a very decent character, and his attacks are quite fun, and he's part in the story that he gets possessed. They give him like some kind of drug to turn him to his dark side, you know, and I always found that to be pretty interesting. But anyway, I can't decide if he's a C or a B. I'm gonna put Orcha on the B because he is a solid tank. Just for that reason, yeah, B. Orla. Oh my god, Orla is one of the best characters in the game. I love her so much. I've beaten the game like 4 times with her. I beat the game with her on my New Game Plus stream that I did a few days ago, that I finished a few days ago. A great magic user. Her attacks are badass and do massive damage, even the lowest tier attacks. I don't know, Orla, and she has a lot of defense, magical resistance. Damn, man, Orla is she's almost a perfect character, and I strongly recommend getting her in your first playthrough. Badass character, man, she's a total S. Pierre, man, he's almost useless. Like, he's not one of the worst characters in the game, but he's just misses a lot, you know. His physical attacks are like mediocre, his magic attacks are lame, his special attacks are like, it's just, Pierre is a mediocre character. Yeah, in this game you can go the Nikki route, the Guile route, or the Pierre route to enter Viper Manor. My least recommended route. The fastest way to get to Viper Manor is by recruiting Pierre, but he is the worst, like the worst out of the 3 by far. I'm gonna give it a D. Yeah, he belongs in the D, almost on the E, but I'll cut him some slack. Pip is one of the weirdest characters in the game. He can be a total badass if trained properly, but that's the problem. It takes forever to train Pip properly so he can evolve. He's like the Pokemon character in the game. He evolves the more you train the guy, the more you attack, the more you do this or that. The moment you put Pip in your party, he's completely useless. He's one of the worst characters in the game. You gotta train this guy and spend some time with him to really make him a badass. And even though on his badass forms, he's not really an S tier, maybe an A tier, but you know, it just takes a long time. I never really used Pip. He's useless. Just because he can evolve and if trained properly, he can be a good character, I'm gonna give him a D. Poshul, she doesn't get a lot of credit, but she's not that good of a character either. She is like Mel, for example, like Matcha. She's fun to play as, she has a funny accent, But overall, okay attacks, okay magic, okay physical attacks. She misses a lot. She's not one of the best characters by no means. So Poshul, she's just okay, you know, I'm gonna give her a C. Yeah, she's just meh. Get rid of Poshul as soon as you can. Radius, well, Radius is kind of a complicated character because when I first played Chrono Cross, I remember him being a very solid attacker and a very solid mage. But, you know, I don't know if they were going for the old man approach because he's old, so he's therefore weak. But that's what happened to me. He just kept getting killed over and over again until I finally said, you know what? I'm just gonna switch this guy for another character, and I missed him because his attacks are good and he's a decent mage and a decent attacker. But his defense and magical resistance are terrible. But just because he's a good attacker and mage, I'm gonna give this guy a B. On New Game Plus, he can also be a badass. Rasley, she's fun to play. She is one of the best mages in the game, unfortunately, and Rydell is right next to her, so I'll cover both right now because they're like the exact same character for me. They're both one of the best mages in the game, but you know, a fly touches them and they die. That's it, you know, they just die. Rydell is a badass in New Game Plus. Rasley isn't that much. She's better in the original, you know, first playthrough. But it's just, I don't see any difference in terms of stats. You know, just a few hits and they die. They both have low accuracy when it comes to physical attacks, and their special skills are kind of fun to watch. Rydell is a great healer. She's also the best healer in the game because she has this spell that she can heal the whole party and do a lot of healing. But overall, you know, they're just very weak. But seeing as they're both two of the best mages in the game, I'm gonna give them both a B. Yeah, Rydell, like I said, you know, she is also one of the best mages in New Game Plus. Surge, like I already covered Surge on the Lynx part. He's a badass, one of the best characters in the game, if not the best. Especially if you get the Master Mune after fighting Dario, one of the super bosses in the game. Strongly recommended. It's such a hard-ass battle, but totally worth it just to get the Master Mune. And the Master Mune makes Surge a total beast. One of the best characters in the game. Skelly's actually very good, you know. His quest takes a long time and you gotta read a walkthrough to find all of his body parts so he can come together and become one character. But he's actually one of the best characters in the game as well. Unfortunately, other characters overshadow him, like Gropic, Glenn, Orla, Surge himself, Karsh. But he's nearly there. He's a great mage, great magic user, a great physical attacker, good accuracy. You know, he can take a lot of damage, both magical and physical. His special skills are fun to watch, and he has a fun personality as well. Skelly, he's definitely an A. Anyways, Neffy is one of the worst characters in the game. I'll say this, he's a slightly decent magic user, but in everything else he sucks balls. His low accuracy sucks, his attacks sucks, his personality sucks, everything. This guy is one of the worst characters in the game. Don't use this guy, don't even recruit him unless you want to get every single character in the game. Yeah. Sprig, everybody's gonna say she's one of the worst characters. I strongly disagree. Just because she can transform into enemies, you gotta defeat the enemies with her first, and she has this special attack to absorb them. She can't absorb the bosses, so she can't turn into the bosses, but she can turn and absorb, you know, the bosses, the special bosses in a special area. I don't want to spoil the game, but yeah, so Sprig is by herself, without transforming into monsters. She's one of the worst characters in the game. But if you can use her to transform in some of the best monsters in the game, my gosh, so she's one of the best. Actually, when I first played this game, she was in my party for a long time, and it's thanks to her that I got into the tournament, beat the tournament, and got Janice. So Sprig, in my opinion, while transformed into a good monster, she is an A. Yep, that's right. Starkey is like the flower guy, you know, he's just there to be cute. He's an okay character. He's better than the flower guy, than Neo. But he just doesn't stand out. He's a decent mage, but that's about it. His attacks are kind of funny, but I don't know. Starkey's just an okay character for me. Yeah, he's just another cute character in the party. He's a C. Stina is like Rydell and Rasley. I think Rasley and Rydell are better mages, but Stina, she can be quite the powerful mage as well. Unfortunately, she's kind of weak. and just a few hits and she dies. Radley and Rydell die faster, so that gives some points, some extra points to Stina. And as a physical attacker, she's okay, she's kind of average, not her strong point. So she's a much better mage than a physical attacker. Her attacks are kind of okay, they're kind of lame, but I don't know, she's hot, so she's fun to watch. So yeah, I'm gonna give her a B, she's a good unit. Yeah, if trained properly, she can also be a powerful mage. Turnip is one of the other small monster cute looking fellas. Nah, not a good mage. Nah, he can take some few hits, you know. He is good in the defense and attack department. In everything else, he's kind of average. Overall, you know, out of all the small little creatures, he is actually the best in my opinion. Well, he has sword attacks and he's above average, but to be honest, he belongs in the C. He's okay, but out of all the C guys here, you can see, let's just say he's the best. All right, let's leave it at that. Van is also one of the worst characters in the game, if not for his magic attacks, you know, and his elemental attacks. I think he's a slightly decent mage, not one of the best, not one of the worst, but I don't feel like Van belongs in the E tier, because he's okay, but he is below average in my opinion. His attacks are fine to watch, as you can see, but I don't know, he's just, yeah, he's a D. Viper is, well, he's a strong character, he's also a tank. Greco and Orcha are better tanks in my opinion, but he can take a few hits. Viper's attacks are badass, and he's the badass old, you know, muscular general, you know, so he has a lot of presence in the game, a lot of strong personality. Viper is one of the most balanced characters in the game. Use him if you want to. I obviously recommend more anybody on the S or A tier, but he's a great unit, so I'm gonna give him B. Zappa is the same, he's pretty much the same. He can take a lot of damage, he's a bit of a tank himself, his attacks are okay, he's more of a physical attacker. As a mage, he kind of sucks, he's kind of bad, so if you're looking to have a lot of physical attackers in your party, if you're trying to build, you know, that kind of party to focus on physical attacks, Zappa is a good choice, but still not one of the best characters in the game. He's also a B. And Soa, well, same as Viper and Zappa, he's pretty much the same. In my opinion, out of the three guys, you know, he is the strongest of them all, but I think Viper and Zappa are slightly better magic users than him. But, you know, if I had to choose, had to judge them based on their attacks, their special attacks, Zappa, you know, his attacks just look badass and they're badass, so I like that a lot, so, yeah, but still, terrible magic user, and just not one of the best characters in the game. He is also a B, yeah. Alright guys, so that concludes my tier list. This is my enormous tier list, character tier list of Chrono Cross. Don't forget to watch the video that I mentioned, link in the description below. The sprites, everything just looks badass in that. You know, you're gonna have to ask this guy, this YouTuber, how the hell did he remaster the game, because it looks great and fantastic. But anyway, you're gonna have to do that. Link in the description below. So that's it guys, leave your opinion in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. Harley is the best character in the game. Thanks for watching, bye.